I deserve jail time for it is so expensive, but it's so good. Lock me up, throw away the key. I know, I'm sorry, but this is so good. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're talking makeup brushes, and I usually get a lot of questions on what makeup brushes I'm using, especially this one blush brush I use. So I'm really excited to deep dive in. I have a lot of favorite makeup brushes, but these are the ones that I've repeatedly been loving, been using, and they're just such a staple, and they do truly make such a big difference in my makeup. So I am so excited to jump into this video and get started. I would love to know down below before we get in, what's your favorite makeup brush? Do you prefer spending more money on your complexion products, or, and by products I mean brushes, girl, I'm already mixing up my words at the beginning of the video. Do you prefer spending your money on complexion brushes, or do you prefer spending your money on eyeshadow and those types of brushes, or do you like to not really splurge? I would love to know down below what you kind of think. And yeah, I just want to jump into this video and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this top 5 makeup brushes video. Makeup brushes, let's get into it. So most of these kind of all are on the same playing field, so I'm not gonna have a number 2, number 1, whatever. I'm gonna kind of just go. I do have one that kind of snuck in, so we do technically have 6. I don't know why I said snuck in. That I kind of, it's in the same playing field as the rest, so I really wanted to include it. Okay, let's go with the few eye brushes that I have, and then we're gonna move on to the face. I just feel like that'll be a good order. So first, this brush here, I love a slanted brush for on my lash line and really pulling a really thin brush, and this one is so good. So this is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and at the writing, I've had this for 1,000 years. This is when I got this, when the dip pomade like brow product was really big back in, I don't even know when, but it was a really long time ago when that was kind of huge. This is the brush that kind of goes along with that. It is such a good brush. It is the thinnest brush, at least that I own, and it just does the nicest line. And I don't know, I love the way that this works and applies, and I love that it has a spoolie on the end, even though this brush is so old that the spoolie is questionable. Look at how janky that is, and like dirty, not great. But I love this brush. It's so good, and you can definitely still get this. I was hunting around trying to figure out what brush this was, and then I finally figured out what it was. Really, really good brush, and just a thin little brush, and you can do a wing with it. I don't know, I'm obsessed with this, and having one of these in your collection, I feel like is super clutch. Really, really good. Okay, next eye product is actually, if I don't get it together, eye brush is actually this one. So this one is from the Morphe Makeup by Ariel collection, and I love a really good smudger brush for underneath my lash line, but it also is really good for just creating a really nice wing, smudging out on the lid too. This is great. Now, if you're looking for an alternative that you can buy not in the collection, and you want a nice smudger brush, I really like this one from Morphe. It is a little bit fluffier than this smudger brush here. However, I can get kind of the same results with this one. This is the Morphe M213. Really good, really affordable. And again, you don't have to buy the whole collection, because I do know that you have to kind of, I don't know if they've changed it since I've purchased the brushes, but I do know that the brushes you can't really buy individually, which is kind of annoying. But this is a great brush, and it just really does such a good job smudging. I'm a really, really big fan. Next, we got a concealer brush, and a lot of the time, if I'm not using this brush, but I want to use a brush, I will just use one that's like a crease brush or a fluffy brush to blend out my concealer, but I do love this brush. So this is the Sephora Pro 71 brush, and this is kind of like a kitten paw. I don't know if that's what it's called. Bunny paw, something like that brush, and it is so good. And as you can see, it's not the same all the way around, and this is so good. The way I like to use it is concealer under my eyes, or I'll blend it out and then apply it to my, like blend it out on the back of my hand and then apply it and then just press it in. And the way this blends concealer is so good. My under eyes love this, and it doesn't make the concealer disappear too much, but it soaks up enough of it in a good way where I don't feel like my under eyes end up ever looking cakey when I use this. This is also really good if you're like doing contour on your nose and you want to just kind of pull the concealer. This is great because of the way that this kind of, it's just so good. I'm obsessed with this brush, and I know that Sephora Pro brushes can be expensive. I know Real Techniques has an alternative to this one, which is basically the same thing, same kit and paw style that people love, and that's Real Techniques. Oh, geez, I'm dropping things left and right. And Real Techniques tends to be way more affordable than Sephora Pro brushes. However, Sephora sale coming up. I do believe it's, the date I read it starts is October 27th, I think. So it's coming up. So that's a good time to get Sephora brushes because their Sephora products are like 30% off normally during the Sephora sale. I hope they're the same this year. This is such a good brush. I'm a huge, huge fan. Highly recommend. Okay, next. I love these brushes. These Real Techniques brushes. I have 3 of them. I actually have 4. I don't know where the 4th one is, but I have 3 of them here. One of them I've had the longest, this one, the one that's looking real janky. It's been through a lot, clearly. But these are so good. So this is the Real Techniques. I think it's just stippling or setting brush. One of them. Oh, setting brush. It is so freaking good. For setting just around the face, it's just so good, and it picks up powder really well. It's also really good for just if you want to apply a little bit of highlight. I don't know, this brush is so versatile to me, and this is so good. If you're not interested in the Real Techniques one, which they're so affordable, just grab them. But the Ami Collet brush, I don't know what this brush is called. Oh, the powder brush is really great too, and it does the same thing, and it's just so good. I love this brush. I have a lot of the Ami Collet brushes, and by a lot I mean I have the Ami Collet brushes, and they're so freaking good, but this one to me is, out of all of them, just it just does such a good job. It picks up powder really well. It doesn't deposit it really heavy. Some brushes can deposit powder really heavy. These brushes do not. They're really good. So this is a great alternative to the Real Techniques brushes, but these ones I've had for years. I've had since, honestly, I started doing makeup. These have just been the best, and I believe they're like, they're so good and so fluffy. I don't know, I love, and I think they're like $7 or something like that. Just such a steal. Okay, next we have a blush brush, and this is my most asked about like brush, and it's so good, and you can pick it up during the Sephora sale and get a deal. The Sephora Pro 93. This is so good. I love this brush. It's so good. It fits my cheeks perfectly, and I have a really small face, so a lot of the time brushes can be a little bit too much for my face and apply too much product. This is perfect. The way it blends is beautiful. It is just the most beautiful slanted brush. Now, I have been using and testing out a different slanted brush that's smaller that I'm also really loving. I just love a slanted brush for blush in general. It just applies it beautifully. I can apply it like this. I can also apply it like this, and it just makes my makeup and my blush look so good. And I have found that when I first started doing makeup, I felt like applying blush was really overwhelming, and it felt super confusing. And cream blush specifically really overwhelmed me because I am not the type of person that likes to blend cream products out with my fingers. It's never gonna be me. I'm never gonna be her. Never gonna be the girl that likes blending out my blush with my fingers. So when I would apply cream products, I was always just really annoyed because it just never looked how I wanted, and this does the job. Highly recommend. Again, you can get this during the sale. I believe it's $30 normally, but during the sale, hopefully it's still 30% off this year, but you can get 30% off usually during the sale. Okay, next. Ooh, let's talk these. So I am the biggest fan of this brush. So this is the It Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe number 7. This is such a freaking good brush. It is so good for blending out foundation. It is so good for applying blush or bronzer and or just blending stuff out. This is really good for blending out concealer. I really like this brush for that. It just does such a good job. I love this brush. I know it's not the most like cheap brush out there. It's definitely more on the pricey side, but an alternative to that one is this one. So this one is from e.l.f. and this is what their Complexion Duo brush, and it is really, really similar. So even if you can see, the way that they are is very, very similar, and the way that the bristles feel is super similar as well. I would say that the It Cosmetics one is slightly softer, but this is still very soft. This one just has a very specific softness to it. This one still feels super soft though. These are great brushes. This is a really nice alternative. And again, e.l.f. is so much more affordable than It Cosmetics, so this is a great alternative to this brush. I just feel like they do such similar things, and I am really happy with the finish of my makeup when I use this. This one just has a touch more softness to it, but it doesn't affect the way, at least I feel like, my makeup blends out. I feel like it still looks really good when I use the e.l.f. one, but both of these are great brushes. I highly recommend. But if I had to pick my favorite, it would be this one out of the two, but they're both, I just love both. Okay, last but not least, we have one that I know I deserve jail time for. It is so expensive, but it's so good. Lock Me Up, Throw Away the Key. I know, I'm sorry, but this is so good. This Hourglass brush is so freaking good. I'm obsessed with this brush. So this is like a dual-ended powder brush. One side is obviously a lot bigger. This side is smaller. I love both sides. Depending on how bronzed up I want to be, it'll depend on what side I use for my bronzer. I have a small face, so usually I'm going with this side, but sometimes I just want to be like bronzed to like all get out. Bronzed a ton, and so I'll use this side. I also love this for powder. I love this for blush too. I don't know, this is such a good brush, and I'm actually not kidding. The way it blends out product is wild. It is so good. I haven't found anything that blends out bronzer, blush, anything quite like this. And I do feel like sometimes when I blend out my powder, bronzer, or blushes, sometimes I just need, the brush doesn't do a good enough job. This one, I don't ever get patchiness no matter what bronzer I use or blush I use, or powder. This is so good. I love this brush. I know it's expensive, but again, Sephora sales coming up, holidays are coming up, so it might be a good time to ask. Or if you kind of have been waiting, now's the time, because all the sales are gonna be popping up. That's the time to buy the expensive stuff. But this is really, really good. I love this brush. Cannot go wrong. And yeah, I love all these brushes. I would love to know down below, what is your favorite brush? If you had to only have one makeup brush in your collection, what would it be? For me, it would be this one, because it's so multi-purpose. I can use it for bronzer, blush, foundation. I can also use it for concealer. This is such a good product. And I feel like even if I use it with powder, I like the way powder applies with this, which is, to be honest, kind of rare for brushes. Sometimes one's just a cream style brush for me or a powder. This one does both for me. I'm really happy with it. And I also like, if I, let's say, just dust on a little bit of powder, this is a great brush. So out of all of them, if I had to just pick one brush for any complexion, it would be this. Really, really good. And yeah, let me know down below what you think. And yeah, that's it for this video. That is it for my top 5, technically 6, makeup brushes. I would love to know, do you have 5 brushes that are just, you can't live without? Please let me know down below. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.